guys, welcome back to my channel. So I know I have said that sometimes these spirits act up in different places or whenever I'm more stressed or just out of the blue, so you can never tell when these spirits really show themselves. However, every time I seem to visit my cousin in California, I always seem to experience similar occurrences in her apartment complex, and it has just been happening so frequently every time I visit that I need to get it out of my head and just put it all in one video so it all makes sense and I can just get these stories out. So this is going to be basically the ghost stories that I have experienced visiting my cousin in her apartment complex. This past weekend, my family and I went to California, and every time we go to California we stay with my cousin, and I usually always stay in my cousin's room. So for the sake of this story, let's just call my cousin, let's call her Ariana. So Ariana and I have been close ever since we were little, and because of this we would always tell each other ghost stories or try to scare each other or play pranks on each other. However, as we got older and started experiencing things on our own, one thing that we kind of shied away from was faking ghost stories, because sometimes she would tell me, oh yeah, one time there was someone killed in this apartment, but you know, she just made that up to scare me at times. However, we would always see what we thought were each other or family members in this apartment complex and then find out that we weren't really there, that we were out of the apartment, you know, visiting some other family members in California. So I'm going to tell you what just recently happened and everything leading up to it, and when I spoke to one of her friends who's also a neighbor that lives in the same apartment complex, I'm going to tell you what she experienced. I was basically, like I said, staying with Ariana. Ariana and I were in her room, and her room is along this hallway inside of her apartment. On the other side of the hallway, right across from her room, is the bathroom. So if you're in the bathroom, you have a perfect view from the mirror into her bedroom. So Ariana and I were inside of her bedroom, and everybody was basically getting ready for a family party and a family event. And Ariana and I were basically talking about what we were going to wear later that night when we went out with our other cousins to a little party. Well, I was telling her if I should wear a dress, and she was like, oh, I'm going to wear this dress. And we kind of said like, oh, that's cute, you know, that's a Fashion Nova dress. And we started talking about Fashion Nova and like how girls wear those types of dresses when they go clubbing. So I go into the bathroom, and I believe I was washing my hands, and I look into the mirror and I see like what I thought was Ariana pass by the door in her room. So as I turn around and I'm about to go back into Ariana's room, I think nothing of it. Like, it literally looked like Ariana. So I'm not alarmed, I'm not scared, I'm not anything at this point, but I go inside Ariana's room. And I see her pass the opposite way in front of the door, and I'm staring at her. She's like right in front of me, clear as day. And she's walking by me wearing a spaghetti strap, like one of these dresses that I'm wearing right now. So she's basically wearing a spaghetti strap dress, and it's a short dress, and it's like the ones that you go clubbing in, and it's purple. It's like a lilac, but dark lilac purple. And as she's passing in front of me, like she's kind of like smiling at me, but this smile was like a mocking type of smile where she's like, and then as she's like smiling at me, I like chuckle to myself like, okay. And then she continues forward and then looks forward, and this point in her room where she was, it's somewhat of a blind spot, so I enter the room, and then I see she's nowhere to be found. So I'm thinking she's somehow ducking behind her bed trying to scare me, or ducking behind, I don't know, anything. And I realized she's not there, and I felt my heart drop into my stomach. I got this overwhelmed sensation of nausea. I knew something was wrong. Something was completely wrong, because even though her and I joke a lot around with each other, something about her smile seemed off, and like her face, even though it was hers, it wasn't. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but the whole situation was basically like a threat. And so I'm freaking out, like, how could she disappear? There's no way she could have gotten underneath her bed without me seeing her get underneath her bed. So I look behind her door, she's not there. And I realize she's not in the room. She literally disappeared into thin air. So I realized what I just saw wasn't her. And I freak out and I start kind of like yelling, Ariana, Ariana. And then I hear her say, yeah. And I run out into the hallway and I hear this voice coming right next door, the bedroom next door. And so I run into the hallway, I enter this next bedroom, and Ariana's in there in a pair of sweats and like a t-shirt talking to my dad and my sister. I basically freak out immediately. I'm like, oh my god, you won't believe what I just saw. You were just in there, you're wearing a purple dress, like literally like a Fashion Nova type of dress, like what the hell? And then we all start freaking out and I go into the kitchen and I'm freaked out. I'm frantic, my words are being slurred, and of course my mom is like, oh, ignore her, like she's lying. Of course, like always, you know. And my dad believed me, and I was telling my older cousin, which is Ariana's older sister, like what I had seen, and she basically told me that Ariana had basically seen her one day and she wasn't actually home. And I kind of don't know what to do at this point. Like, I was comfortable going back into her room. I didn't feel like anything was there anymore. But the fact that I saw her, like that one time that I saw myself here at my own house and it wasn't me, or one time when I saw my sister and it wasn't her, it just made me feel like I can't escape it. I can't escape whatever this was, and I don't think it was a demon, but at the same time it wasn't her. Like, what was that? Like, I did not hallucinate that. I'm not on any medications. I wasn't tired. I was straight up chilling, so I don't know what that was. Ariana and I were like, okay, well, we have some time before we have to go to our family party. So we decided to visit our friend that lives one level up in the same apartment complex. She is a big spoof into like horror movies. She is a big spoof into ghost stories. Like she's the type of girl to tell this stuff too. So we go up there and she decides like, hey, like come up here, like we'll, you know, I'll catch up since you're in town from Vegas and I'll do Ariana's hair. And so we all go up there and I'm like, oh my god, like I need to tell her about this. This was crazy. And we go up there and it's the three of us in her bathroom, you know, all girls, we're chit-chatting. Let me call this friend Dayla. So Dayla, she's straightening Ariana's hair and I'm sitting on the toilet seat and I tell her, yeah, like I literally just saw my cousin Ariana and it wasn't her. Like it was wearing a Fashion Nova dress, as if whatever this spirit was or this ghost was, it was listening to our conversation and decided to appear as my cousin Ariana wearing a Fashion Nova-esque type of dress. Like, what? And she was like, well, you know, like right across the street, you know, there's a rumor that that building used to be like an asylum. And I was like, no way. And Dayla says every single time like we talk about ghost things, she says, yeah, like I went inside this abandoned, you know, former asylum, and she's like, I got this overwhelming sensation of just sadness and dread. And she told me like she didn't see anything, but that feeling wasn't hers, and that every time she thinks of ghosts, like she knows that that's what she experienced, that feeling, you know, the overwhelming hold that this feeling had. And I believe her, and I'm like, well, you know, I don't know if that is true, because I haven't looked it up. I need to look up that building that they're talking about. I don't know what building it is. I don't want to go in there. And Dayla tells me like, Alex, remember that one time you saw a black shadow? And it came back to me. One of the other times that I visited Dayla with my cousin Ariana, I then had this memory come back to me that I was walking down the hallway and it was kind of late at night, and from the corner of my eye, from around a corner, so in my peripheral vision, I was looking at a corner at the end of the hallway, and what I basically saw was this super tall black shadow, and it was somewhat hunched over because that's how tall it was. I saw it peeking at me, like its head, like hunched head peeking at me from around this corner. And I remember noticing it from my peripheral, trying to focus on it from my peripheral vision. And when I looked directly at it, it like shushed away, like it ducked behind the corner so I couldn't see it anymore. It kind of reminded me of like when kids like to play a little hide and seek with you and they want to make sure that you're catching them, like you're a little hot, you know? That's what it reminded me of. And I remember seeing that and telling my cousin, and we booked it to like Dayla's house. And we're like, oh my god, open the door, open the door. So that's another experience I experienced specifically in my cousin Ariana's and friends Dayla's apartment complex. So we're talking all about this, and then Dayla's mom comes home. And Dayla's mom, you know, she's a real hip, cool mom. Like you can talk to her about anything. she kind of like, you know, heard that all the girls were in the bathroom just chit-chatting, and then Dayla goes, hey mom, like Alex just saw like a ghost, like you saw, like pretending to be someone we knew. And I was like, wait, she's experienced it? She's like, yeah dude, like my mom has seen her boyfriend, but it wasn't her boyfriend. So all of us shift over from the bathroom to Dayla's mom's room, and all of us are talking about like ghost stories. And she told me like, you know, one time my daughter Dayla and I were just, you know, chilling in the living room in the kitchen, and my daughter Dayla said that she, you know, saw the balcony door try to open, and she was like, I didn't see it but I heard it, and it was like forcefully trying to open. And Dayla told me that she was literally sitting on her couch looking at her balcony, and it was one of those moments where you're kind of zoned out but you're focused on an object. And she said that that object that she was focused on during her, you know, zoning out was the handle to the balcony. And she said as she's staring at it, she saw it jerk. She was like, whoa. That kind of brought her back to attention. You know, she became attentive once that happened. And she said she saw it, boom, jerk again, trying to open. Those balconies are kind of hard to open, you know, but it literally looked as if an invisible force was trying to open it. And no, it was not the wind, okay? It was not the wind. There's no way it could have been the wind. It was something trying to open it. And her mom was like, you heard that? She's like, mom, I saw it. I literally saw it. So they always knew ever since they moved in, they would see things like that. And it wasn't just them. Neighbors would see black shadows in the hallways, in the corners, from the corner of their eyes. I wasn't the only one that experienced that. So we're all talking like about the similarities of our, you know, situations and what we experienced. And she tells me, yeah, well, one time, you know, my boyfriend was over, and she's like, you know, we fight, you know, and then sometimes when we fight, like we give each other the stink eye and whatnot. And she said that this is so funny, but it's not. She said that she was like chilling, and she saw her boyfriend pass by in front of her. And she said, like, the way she reenacted it, she said he was looking at her and he's like, you know when you're annoyed with someone and you're like fed up with them and low-key trying to start a fight? That's what he looked like apparently. So like kind of like mocking her, and he's like, and she's like, what's up? Like, what's your problem? And he just kept walking. Something told her to like go check like what that was all about. And she's like, you know what? We have been fighting lately. Maybe he's, you know, kind of like fed up with me. Maybe he wants to fight again. And then she like called for him, and then she heard him go like, what? And he was on the balcony. And in order for him, if that really was him passing by in front of her, in order for him to get on the balcony, he would have to pass by in front of her again, if that makes sense, through the hallway. So she realized that that wasn't him. It was never him. And she's like, wait, where are you? And he's like, I'm on the balcony. And she's like, no, you're not. You just passed by in front of me. Who? And he didn't understand what had just happened, but she knew what had just happened, and that was not him. And another time she said that she believed like a grandfather figure that they had was visiting her mother's house when they were all putting up a Christmas tree. And basically a very similar experience happened with, you know, their balcony door, but it happened at their grandma's house. So as they're putting up this Christmas tree, apparently what had happened was they had heard the front door trying to open. And the reason why they knew this distinct noise was because there's a bell on this door handle, because it was Christmas. And one of them tried looking out of the window because they would have a perfect view of whoever was at the front door, and there's no one there. So we're all exchanging these stories back to back, and then Dayla's sister walks in and she's like, oh, you guys talking about like all the crazy stuff that happens here? And we're like, yeah, like that. I don't know what it is about that apartment complex, but every time I go over there, I feel like rushes of energy. There's something shape-shifting into your loved ones, and there's also black shadows there. I don't necessarily feel like it's evil, but at the same time, it seems to always mock us. It seems to mock its victims. And that can't be good. I don't know what to do about it. My cousin, she does like to burn some incense, and I think she sages, but I don't know. She's not really that spiritual, so I don't know what they do about it. Again, with apartment complexes, it's so hard because there's so many different types of people living there. And again, like, people are always in and out of apartments. So basically that's what recently just happened on my trip to California. I saw my cousin that wasn't my cousin, and another tenant had basically the same experience. She saw someone that she thought was her boyfriend and it wasn't. Things try to open doors there, and we have little peeping shadows that like to play little games. I don't know, I just thought that this would be a story time that you guys enjoyed. Have you ever seen a family member that passes right in front of you but they're wearing something different than you originally saw them in and realize that they're not home? Have you guys heard family members calling your name and then realizing that they aren't actually at your house, or these family members even live out of state or in a different house? Let me know, because these are all things that I have experienced, and I know I can't be the only one, and that my family and our close friends can't be the only one. So thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for always commenting and leaving your feedback and just even sending me sweet messages on Instagram. You guys really make my day, and I can't even begin to explain to you that I can't believe 1.9k of you like my paranormal story times, or that a lot of you guys believe me, because I know it sounds crazy, but until you witness it or hear it or feel it, you're not so crazy anymore. So please be safe, and I hope and wish that your New Year's is filled with love and nothing but success and happiness. So see you guys later, and I'll upload very soon. Bye!